Thank you so much for joining us. Has Zizi Kodwa arrived as yet?
Yes, a very good morning to you too, Simpiwe. Yes, Zizi Kodwa has definitely arrived here at Mdantsane City Mall here, one of the biggest townships in the country. Well, no incidents of looting have been reported at this mall. As you can see, this side, it's business as usual, Simpiwe. No incident at all, and it's thanks to, one might say, the taxi drivers who have been sleeping here, working around the clock to ensure that no sense of looting happens in this area. And while I was speaking to them off air, they were saying that if any incident of looting could occur in this area, they'd be the one who are suffering the most, because they're still paying for these taxes that they are currently driving, and that there'll be no business for them. But with me, I do have the Deputy Minister, Zizi Kodwa. A very good morning to you, sir, and thanks for joining us. Kindly tell us about the purpose of this visit.
Well, the visit is part of the decision we took as a leadership that, among others, we must go back to the people and talk to them, given what has happened in the recent few days. We're quite encouraged by what we see in the Eastern Cape, the whole of Eastern Cape. People of Eastern Cape working with different stakeholders. They took a decision that they will not participate because they will not even benefit from a destruction of this beautiful mall in Mdantsane. And we're encouraged as leadership because we think that is the only decision that is correct we must do, because where these things have happened, people have been misled. That because of certain things, because of their vulnerability in terms of unemployment, socio-economic conditions, so people have been used. And therefore, what you see now is aftermath in areas such as Durban, where there are areas we are told that they are selling bread at 30 rand. Is the aftermath, is a cost, and it's poor people who are suffering now. So we're encouraged to see how people here in the Eastern Cape as a whole took a decision, led by Premier Mabuyane, that they will not participate, and we continue to make that call as government. That people of East London, people of Mdantsane, people of Komani, people of Engcobo, they all say in one word, Uba Asizi. And I think we're encouraged by that message.
Was government, particularly the security cluster, caught napping in the recent events that unfolded during this past week?
Well, there are lessons to be learned. There are lessons to be learned because, like I said somewhere when we visited Soweto, the situation has been building up for some time, even before the Concord decision. As you know now, the issue is not about former President Zuma. It's just pure criminality. And this criminality, among others, has now used the vulnerability of the conditions of our people. The security cluster, if you ask that question, there are lessons to be learned. And I think a lot better could have been done. Our focus now is on instigators. We now know that there were masterminds. Some of them were already started to knock at their doors. And I'm sure people of South Africa, all what they want, we want to see arrest. And I can assure them that already government has already started to arrest some of the instigators, because the people who orchestrated this plan, who engineered, some of them funded this plan, gave money to people to loot and to destroy the property, as we have seen in a number of areas.
Would you say some of them are within the African National Congress, since there are roaring factions within the party?
We, as government, we don't consider factions or affiliation or association with a party. When we find somebody has committed a crime, like you say, some of them indeed, yes, some of them are leaders are in the councils, for an example, who have participated. Some of them funded this campaign, this destruction of the economy. And I think some of them already, they've had visitation of law enforcement agencies as we speak, and will continue to visit them.
You talk about taking action. When can we see that action taking place? As we see now that the economy of the country, these are high in Joburg is the economic hub of Africa as a whole. So as we talk about taking action, tell us about the time frames that process will unfold.
As I said to you already, I'm sure you have read in the news that one of the instigators has already been arrested. And South Africans will see more. So it's not when are we taking action. We've already taken action. And I'm sure in a matter of days or hours, you will see more instigators being arrested, because wherever they are seated, we now know what their plan. We now know what their intentions, including the intention beyond this. This was just for them a starter. They've got bigger plans of destabilizing the country, of economic sabotage, which is why, if you look at the disruption in Durban, it was more on the distribution and supply of food security. And it's part of the plan, so that you create this panic in society and agitate for a popular revolt, which must at the end unseat the current president, Ramaphosa, and his leadership. That is not going to happen in South Africa. We already deployed around the critical installation to make sure that we don't have a problem of food insecurity. That deployment, as you can see, that the increase in the deployment of law enforcement soldiers is to make sure that we do not have such a crisis. And we're not going to have that crisis of food insecurity in the country. But I must assure you that instigators were on their heels as we speak to make sure that at the end of the day, we get to the bottom of why they are doing this. South Africans will know soon who are these people. Some of them are leaders, as I said, are leaders who are leading serious positions, whether in government or elsewhere, who have been funding this campaign of destruction.
Had it been contained in the events that unfolded in Gandla, would you agree with me that we wouldn't have been seeing these events?
I think the question should be whether what was the scale of the destruction of this plan. Like I said, this plan was big, and I'm not saying I don't want to exaggerate that what we see is less of what they planned. Their plan was economic sabotage, was really to disrupt the economy, and a lot was neutralized by the intelligence services. A lot was mitigated. Could something better have happened to mitigate what we see now? I accept that a lot could have been done. That's why I'm saying there are lessons to be learned, even from the intelligence point of view, in terms of intelligence collection, so that South Africans must live not in fear, but they must understand that they are protected when they have the intelligence services that can collect and follow any threat that is likely to create instability and the kind of destruction we have seen in the country.
Well, Mr. Kodwa, on a serious note, on another note, you are not a stranger to this community, particularly this area of NU6. You've adopted a school here which was burnt down, but against all odds, it got 100% pass rate, Vula Mazibuko. You promised or made a commitment to rebuild that school. How far are those commitments now?
I continue, as you know, that one of the major disruptions has been COVID. The last time I went to that school, we were still, I think, we were in level 1, level 2. We're now on level 4. And that has disrupted a lot of movements and so on. Even the fact that we are here. We realize that we can't talk to people via microphone. We've got to talk to them directly. My commitment to that school, Vula Mazibuko, and many other schools, not only that, I made a promise in one of the schools that performed better in Mdantsane, in spite of the debilitating conditions of that school. I will continue. I hope that as the situation becomes normal in terms of COVID and regulations, I will still go back to Vula Mazibuko. Now that I'm here, you probably give me an idea that I can go and greet in that school.
I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
We'll catch up more. Well, Simpiwe, that was the Deputy State Security Minister, Mr. Zizi Kodwa, who's about to conduct oversight here to engage with the taxi drivers. And this is the rank that is expected to engage with these people here. From us here, back to you in studio for now.